Welcome to my channel. My name is Amrif the Artist, and thank you for stopping in. So obviously from the thumbnail and the title, you know this is about Squid Game. I just finished the series not that long ago, maybe a few days ago, and I'll be talking some spoilers a little bit later in the video. But right now, I want to let you know about what I'm actually drawing here on the pad, on the sketchbook. So I decided to go with one of the enforcers of the games. I really like the designs of the enforcers. I like the colors. Also, real quick, subscribe, like, share, please. Helps out the channel. Hit that like button, especially. Helps the growth of the channel. Also, put in the comments below if anything you might want to see that you might want to see me tackle in the future, or if you like these, maybe some reviews with drawings behind them or something like that. Let me know. Comments below. So I like the enforcers. I like this very simple nature of the design, the culture that they kind of developed for these enforcers in the Squid Game. The front man was interesting. His design was also interesting. Overall, that's what I chose. So here I chose enforcer, and I want to real quick point out some things for young new artists. There's a lot of stigma behind new artists, starting artists using reference, right? Some elitist artists will look at you and say, well, that's not you. You're just tracing, or you're just not being creative. And listen, the reason you can't draw a hand is not because you don't know how to draw a hand. You just know what it looks like. You don't know what that hand looks like. You're like, well, how can that be? Well, that's why you can't draw it. You don't know what makes up the hand, so you can't draw it. So by using reference, it's just another way of practicing your catalog, right? So, for instance, I couldn't come up with a pose that I liked on my own. So I went on Pinterest and I just looked up different, dynamic poses, and I saw one and I said, you know what, I like this pose. Now, if you look at the pose and the subject in the pose, it doesn't look anything like the drawing that I have here, only in pose. And that's pretty much it. So now let's take this is the first time I draw this pose, and I draw it 3, 4, 5, 6 more times. But by the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th time, I can draw that probably from memory, and I could probably change it. And that's how you grow your library. So don't ever be afraid to change it up and use reference. Reference helps you grow. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. It's a lot of YouTubers out there with millions of followers and content that is not theirs, and they credit no artists. I mean, line for line, color for color, it's the same reproduction that they're doing of somebody else's work, yet they don't even credit them in the comment section, or even in the box below, description box. So grow your library, and then eventually it'll become your own. That's one thing I wanted to, because I see that all around, like in schools, or artists talk amongst each other, and even in comment sections you see that kind of attitude. So don't let that discourage you like that. Well, let's get back to the show Squid Game. So I really liked it. So this is also, just know, spoilers up from here on in. Squid Game. I really like this show. It's based on children's games. I guess basically most in Korea, but some of them I was familiar with, especially the marbles episode where they played marbles. We've done that. I'm from Puerto Rico. We've played marbles all the time as a kid. Obviously, everybody play green light. Let's go to the green light. That's almost like universal all around the world. At this point, I feel. Then the other games seem like maybe something like it's just Korean based. I like the tension of the show. I like the score of the show. I like the cinematography, I should say, of the show. The acting, at first I was not sure about the lead, but he turned out to be really good at his character now. one thing that did kind of annoy me was that, such a loser that he was. I kept thinking right in my head, like, this guy's just a loser. He just squanders money. He's a derelict. He's out here, just gambling, not taking care of his family. And, he just had no redeeming qualities whatsoever. But he turned out to be an honest guy, I guess. And then they kind of go back and show you why he has some PTSD. And that's why he turned out to be the way he turned out. And now he has a daughter, in the show. And, that's like one of his motivations, I guess, and his mom. But, so I really like that aspect, that eventually they showed you why. I mean, I still didn't quite like him that much more, but I guess it made it so you can kind of like see where that was going. And then, you had the gangster who I hated and couldn't wait for him to die. The pickpocketer, which I really liked her character. Really like the character. And then the smart university guy who has ties with him from the old neighborhood, who's the main character. And so those are your big three that make it all the way through the end. Now, to skip ahead, so then you have those three at the very end. Now, the twist of the show, for all of you that don't know, I mean, you can fast forward from right here on in if you don't want to know the ending and the twist of the show. But the end and the twist, that wasn't a surprise. I was surprised that most people were surprised. It was kind of obvious in a way that was it, that was gonna happen. And then also the frontman being the cop's brother was also, I forgot to mention that there's another element in that story in the whole show where there's a cop infiltrating Squid Game, and he wants to find his lost brother. And the frontman, who is the guy behind all the games with the mask, he's like the orchestrator, the ringleader, he actually was his brother. That was not a surprise. I saw that coming eventually. Like at first, no. But then I sort of like, they made it so much about him and the cop and the front man, their scenes together. Then I was like, oh, I know where this is going. So that wasn't that much. So the twists were not surprises to me anyway. And then the very end, when obviously the main character, it's not obvious because sometimes these Korean shows will throw you off by killing the main character. But, of course he makes it, but I was really invested in how he made it. Like when he and the smart guy from the university whom he had a past with, they show him throughout the show kind of like keeping things from him, and his more devious side starts to show. When they played Squid Game at the end, even though I knew that the main character was going to win, they still made it very, like, I wasn't sure at the very end. Like, I was like, okay, I see he's going to win, but I'm not quite sure he's going to win. Because, I mean, they kept throwing you for a loop like that throughout the show. So, in the end, he wins. Then it's revealed, he kind of like goes again to some PTSD. He's like a homeless guy, just a vagabond. He's just floating around. And he finally comes to after the reveal that the old man was the creator, rich guy. That's showed like once in the entire show. But anyway, in the end, but what really did piss me off at the end was that, he went and got the pickpocket's brother out of the orphanage, got him settled, and gave money to the mother of the guy who he grew up with, that he won Squid Game against, and put that little brother with her and gave her money because that was her share. He kept his promise. He got her suit. He was like, all right, I'm gonna finally go to my daughter, put all this behind me. And then he decides he wants to be a hero. And here's my thing that pissed me off. You have a daughter, and she's expecting you. You've not been in her life all this time. And right before you get on that plane to go to her, you decide, because you called a number and it pissed you off, that they told you better get on that plane, it's better for you. You decide, no, I'm going to stop the Squid Games. I'm going to go back. And you go back. But then you totally forget about your daughter. So there's that. So I really don't like that much that character for that reason. The actor portrayed it perfectly. Just I don't know if that's the point of the character for us not to like him. I'm not sure. But I hope they have a season 2. It's Netflix's biggest hit, and that's crazy, even bigger than Stranger Things, which is wild. But I could see why. But that just blew my mind. So I hope season 2 is not a cash grab and is actually a really good telling of what's next. So yeah. So here I am. That's my review. Here I am, giving you this drawing. And by the way, I'm not gonna put as much shading as I usually do on all my other drawings in this, because I envision this as being a colored piece, but I don't have any markers with me, and I'm not really set up for digital coloring. But maybe in the future, on some other video, I might go back with some markers and go over this and make a video about it. So yeah, listen, if you haven't already, if you got this far, please subscribe, leave a message and comment below, share this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.